What's up, everybody? What's going on? Hope you're having a good Tuesday night. SmackDown Live just finished. This is not a SmackDown Live review. This is me giving my thoughts on some news about TNA Impact Wrestling and the potential sale of TNA. They need someone to help them. They need money. They need finances. Reading this story, sounds like TNA needs money and quick. Like before Sunday's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Now I'm still going to do a Bound for Glory predictions later, probably on Wednesday. I'm going to do that predictions because I want to believe in, maybe I'm in denial. I don't know. But I want to believe that the show is still going to go on the air, on pay-per-view. If it doesn't, well, TNA is probably going to be dead then and be bought by someone else. So let me read some of this story. If you don't know what's going on, Dave Meltzer, longtime wrestling reporter, the guy has to know something. I mean, I'm sure the guy has some inside information. I don't believe the guy all the time. I have nothing against him. I don't hate him. I don't like him a lot. But whatever. I don't have anything against him. He's just doing his job. A lot of times he has been wrong. But who knows if he's right or not. He says TNA, according to this story, on the Wrestling Observer Radio, TNA is running out of time, or time is running out for TNA to make a sale to fund this Sunday's Bound for Glory pay-per-view and next week's Impact Wrestling tapings. WWE is said to be in the mix as a potential buyer. Also, I think Billy Corgan is in the mix to buy out Dixie and become the owner. Also, Ring of Honor's company that owns Ring of Honor, Sinclair Broadcasting, they own a lot of TV stations around the U.S. So if Sinclair Broadcasting buys TNA, maybe they won't shut TNA down. Like, there's been rumors that if Ring of Honor's owners buy TNA, that they'll shut TNA down and just take a couple TNA guys and put them in ROH. I don't like that idea, but whatever. If they buy TNA, they can do what they please with it. Of course, WWE's, I'm sure, in the mix because they have the most money. And I don't think the people that own Ring of Honor, Sinclair Broadcasting, I'm sure they have a lot of money. They probably have millions and millions. But I don't think they buy out Dixie Carter. I don't think they want to pay more than $3-4 million. I doubt it. WWE, would they pay $4 million to get the entire TNA library of videos and pay-per-views and DVDs that they've done? I don't know if WWE would pay $4 million. But Vince McMahon, the guy has way more than $4 million in the bank. So he could definitely afford to pay $4 million or $3 million or $2 million. WWE bought WCW's logos and video library. They bought it for like over $2 million. Is TNA worth as much as WCW? I doubt it. Anyways, Vince could definitely pony up the money, and Vince McMahon could definitely buy TNA's video library. He could definitely do it if he wants to. If the guy wants to buy out Dixie Carter, Vince McMahon could write her a check for $3-4 million and Dixie probably sell. So back to the story now. WWE is said to be back in the potential mix as a potential buyer. That would involve in acquiring the tape library, picking up select talent, and basically shutting down TNA. Because WWE, if I was them and I bought TNA's library, I wouldn't keep TNA going. And yes, you could have Impact Wrestling continue as a show on the WWE Network, but why would Vince do that? He already has NXT. NXT is already another wrestling brand that Vince has on his network. He doesn't need Impact Wrestling on his network when he already has NXT. Plus, NXT is worth way more money than TNA is. NXT can actually draw a crowd at live events. They can sell out house show live events. They can sell out NXT TakeOver pay-per-views, and they can put 16,000 people in an arena that want to actually pay and see NXT. People don't want to pay to see TNA. TNA can't even draw 2,000-3,000 people for pay-per-views. And they do every pay-per-view anyways at Universal Studios, Florida. And I don't believe those people are charged at all. They aren't charged to buy a ticket. So TNA makes zero money on pay-per-view ticket sales because they've been promoted and handled so poorly. In my opinion, they have never been promoted well. They've never got their name out there enough. So people don't care enough. I'm sure a lot of wrestling fans gave up on TNA years ago, and they just stopped caring. So TNA's been promoted so bad that, I mean, I still enjoy them. I still really enjoy Impact Wrestling every week. It's been a damn good show every week for the past couple months. It's been better than Raw, I'll tell you that. So Impact Wrestling, basically, they've never promoted themselves good under Dixie Carter. Never have promoted themselves well. Never been able to make money on advertising commercials. I don't know how much they make off commercial advertising on Pop TV, but I don't think TNA barely makes anything off charging advertisers. I don't think they make anything. Basically, barely nothing. So another company owns half of TNA, and then Billy Corgan owns half of ownership, and Dixie Carter, I believe, owns half, or maybe the most. I think Dixie owns maybe 29-31% of TNA. Anyways, TNA can't draw at house shows. They quit doing house shows, so they're making $0 for years and years. They tried to go on the road with pay-per-views, and that worked in about 2008 and 2009. After 2008, 2009, TNA couldn't really draw any crowds in different cities other than Florida for pay-per-views. Or if they did draw a crowd, I'm talking about for Impact Wrestling's TV tapings in a different city other than Florida, or a pay-per-view other than in Florida. They couldn't draw a big crowd. I'm sure they didn't even make a profit. On all the ticket sales, they couldn't even make a profit. They'd probably always be in the hole, and always be in the red, and always be under what they're giving out their talent, giving out their production workers, stuff like that. I'm positive that TNA has not made a profit for pay-per-views and Impact Wrestling shows on the road. So a lot of people wouldn't show up. Maybe 800 or 1,000 would show up for Impact Wrestling tapings or pay-per-views. And then the rest, they'd give away a lot of free tickets, I'm pretty sure. So back to the story. PWP PWI Insider, pretty good website. They are usually pretty right, unlike Dave Meltzer, who has been wrong a lot. PWI Insider followed up on the story, noting that Dixie Carter has had talks with WWE over the past week about selling her majority stakes in the company. With at least 4 companies invested in TNA, it's become a complicated situation. Dixie Carter can sell to whoever she wants, which could put a wrench in Billy Corgan's plans to take over the company. Corgan is still in the running to buy TNA, says Mike Johnson of PWI Insider, but he also says a fuse on the TNA bomb is close to the end. So the end may be near for TNA Impact Wrestling, which is very sad, very depressing for, well, I'm a TNA fan still. It's very sad, very depressing. If TNA can't put on Bound for Glory, then it's over. Company's over. The talent is great. A lot of great talent is still in TNA. So it's not the talent's fault that Dixie Carter ruined the company and mismanaged it horribly, didn't know how to run it, didn't know how to run a wrestling company, should have never been in the wrestling business. Dixie Carter, I mean, she just blew away her parents' money, throwing it at talent like Kurt Angle, Sting, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, a lot of other names, Booker T, Kevin Nash, Christian, but I don't know how much Dixie paid Christian and Booker T. I don't know how much they made. Even guys like Scott Steiner, who had no business being in TNA, in my opinion. The guy sucked, and he was finished. I don't know why TNA brought him in. Probably because Vince Russo thought Scott Steiner had something left and something to add to TNA. In my opinion, Scott Steiner was garbage in TNA. He had nothing to add. He had nothing left. Scott Steiner at one time was great. I don't like the guy personally. I think he's nuts. I think he's a freaking nutcase and a hothead. The guy's always challenging Hulk Hogan to a fight or in talking bad about WWE. Scott Steiner is always bashing Triple H, Vince McMahon, and WWE, and probably because you'll never have a job there again. Because you burned too many bridges and you freaking talked and shot your mouth off way too much bashing WWE. So Dixie, yes, she saved TNA. I believe in 2003 or 4, she bought in to TNA to help Jeff Jarrett because they needed funding, or say we're going to go under. So Dixie saved TNA. But she's been a horrible, horrible president for TNA. Horrible businesswoman. Yes, they have TV deals in Europe and overseas. And that's an accomplishment. But she's been an awful, horrible owner of a wrestling company. Because she can't draw house shows, can't make a profit at house shows, can't make a profit going outside of Orlando for pay-per-views. Because if they did try to go outside of Orlando for a pay-per-view, they probably wouldn't even draw 500 people, sadly. And it's not the talent's fault. The talent is great. I can name a lot of the talent that is great in TNA. Gail Kim, Jade, Marty Bell, Rosemary, Dead K, Abyss, Crazy Steve, Matt Hardy, and his Broken Matt character is great. Brother Nero is great. Senior Benjamin, he's even great at the part he plays. Eddie Edwards, DJ Z, EC3, Drew Galloway, Eli Drake, Aaron Rex, Damien Sandow, he's great. He's in TNA. Lashley's pretty good. Cody Rhodes is coming to TNA at Bound for Glory, if Bound for Glory goes on the air and it actually happens. I don't know if Bound for Glory will happen. I pray that it does go off and happen. Who else is in TNA that's great talent? Bram, he's pretty good, even though I don't like the guy. A lot of great talent. A lot of great talent. Rockstar Spud, another great talent. Andrew Everett, great talent. Trevor Lee, great talent. So TNA, if WWE does buy their library and they pick a few talents, I hope they pick EC3, Rockstar Spud, DJZ. He could be part of the Cruiserweight division. Gail Kim possibly could go back and maybe be a trainer in NXT or go to NXT. I don't know if she would go back. Why not sign Decay? Abyss, Crazy Steve, Rosemary, WWE. If you buy the company, sign Decay. Bring back Broken Matt. Bring back Matt Hardy and Jeff, the Hardy Boys. They could have one more run in the WWE. I don't know if they'd be the Hardys, but bring them back. And, of course, Broken Matt would probably be Broken Matt in WWE. Anyways, the rest of this story is basically saying TNA's could be close to the end. And Bound for Glory might not happen. Back to the story, based on various interviews, Billy Corgan has made a lot of good points regarding his vision for TNA's future. In addition to wanting to change the company's name, I agree they should get rid of the letters TNA and just call them Impact Wrestling or come up with a new name. Because TNA, that brand, that name brand is damaged. That name brand means nothing. It means nothing to the fans, so they should get rid of TNA for damn sure. And Corgan said TNA needs to establish their own identity. He told ESPN this week, or last week, that the company should avoid signing WWE cast-offs. Well, you signed Drew Galloway, you signed Cody Rhodes and Lashley and Aaron Rex. All those guys are great. Cody Rhodes and Aaron Rex have a lot more left than Lashley does, in my opinion. And I don't really care for Lashley. The guy, great athlete, but I don't really care that he's a world champion. They should definitely give the title to EC3 if they have Bound for Glory. So back to the story. Many times in the past, TNA has made the mistake of bringing in WWE people to sort or create a buzz that doesn't sustain. And this is Billy Corgan talking. But success is building a culture that is your own. With your own identity, signatures. If everything you do doesn't feed into that, you are making a big mistake. The history shows it does not work. So basically, it is going to be a very interesting week for TNA Impact Wrestling. What is going to happen? Is Bound for Glory going to even happen? I don't have those answers. All this Dave Meltzer, all this reporting, I'm sure TNA needs money to fund the Impact Wrestling tapings and Bound for Glory. But I don't know if this is true. I have no clue if this is really true. That TNA might not be able to put on Bound for Glory. And you better be able to put it on. Billy Corgan, you better go in your pocket or go to your bank and pull out a couple, I don't know, pull out $1 or $2 million and fund Bound for Glory, because Bound for Glory has already been booked. The card is already booked. You already promoted Bound for Glory on TV. You promoted a lot. EC3 getting his title shot against Bobby Lashley. Drew Galloway, Aaron Rex for the Grand Championship. I'm sure you're going to have the X Division title on the line. You're going to have the Knockouts title on the line. Maria against Gail Kim. You're probably going to have Decay against the Hardys for the tag titles. So you already booked, you already promoted a lot of Bound for Glory matches. If Bound for Glory does not happen, that's going to be a nightmare for TNA. And if it doesn't happen, I believe TNA is finished. Because a lot of fans probably want to order Bound for Glory, because the build-up has been pretty damn good. I want to watch it, and I will be watching it and live tweeting on Twitter. So I hope Bound for Glory happens. I don't know how much of this story is true, that TNA desperately needs money to put on Bound for Glory. I don't have a clue if it's true. All I could do is read this story to you. Believe it if you want. I'm not sure I believe it. I mean, I'm sure they need money, but I'm not sure I believe it. That if they don't get some money, Bound for Glory won't happen. I don't know if that's true. The other company that owns half of TNA, I forget their name of their group or the name of their company. I believe they have a lot of money. Why don't they put up some of their damn money to put on Bound for Glory? But Dixie Carter, she might, if she sells to Vince her share, she gives it all to Vince somehow. If she sells her part to WWE, that's backstabbing, in my opinion. That's Dixie Carter sticking a knife in the back of Billy Corgan and the other company that owns TNA. That'd be backstabbing. That'd be awful. If I understand Dixie's probably upset. She probably can't take it that Billy Corgan, I believe, owns more of TNA than she does. She probably can't take it that Billy Corgan's the new TNA president. She probably doesn't like it that she has no more power backstage, no more power with creative. She probably can't take that and can't accept it. So Dixie's going to try to backstab, blackmail, whatever you want to call it. I don't think blackmail is the right word, but if she sells her ownership to WWE and Vince, that is not good for Billy Corgan. And after Dixie, you worked with Billy Corgan, and the guy cares for TNA and just wants to make things better and try to fix your damn mess that you've made. You have made TNA a mess, Dixie, and you're to blame for all of it. I'm not going to blame Vince Russo, because the guy was just a head writer for a lot of years, probably 10 years. So I'm not going to blame Vince Russo. Yes, he did some stupid stuff in his writing and the stuff he would come up with and do. A lot of the fans in the Impact Zone at one time chanted, "Fire Russo, fire Russo, fire Russo." So a lot of fans hate Vince Russo. I don't hate the guy, but he stayed in TNA too long. He shouldn't have been there. He should have been gone by 2008. And I believe Vince Russo's the guy that, I don't know if he came up with the Main Event Mafia, but I believe he's the one that brought in Scott Steiner, and I don't like that. So, Dixie, my opinion, you're 100% to blame for TNA's issues, and the end may be near for TNA because of you, Dixie. And you just want to sell out your ownership. You want to sell out and cash in and run away and run from the wrestling business because you failed. I guarantee you I could have ran TNA better. As a longtime fan, I could have ran TNA better because I know more than you know, Dixie, about the wrestling business. And I know what works, and I know what you got to do. And Dixie, you did not know what to do. You were a deer in headlights, and you were blinded by the headlights, and you were run over by probably 20 monster trucks. That's how bad you have been for TNA. Dixie, you're a nice woman. You're very sweet and nice to the fans on Twitter. But you saved TNA at one time. But now, in 2016, Dixie, you may be the death of TNA. If you sell your portion, good for you. You cashed in and stabbed Billy in the back. Good for you. And I'll go to my grave believing that Dixie Carter ruined TNA and put them out of business if they go out of business. Again, Vince, if I was Vince, I'd buy TNA because you could put the entire video library of Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Eric Young. Could put all their matches, their entire careers in TNA, and they were in TNA a long time. All of them were in TNA over 10 years almost. Samoa Joe was there in 2005, I think, and he stayed a long time. AJ was there for a long time. Bobby Roode was there for a long time. Austin Aries was there a lot. So you would have the entire video library of AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, Eric Young, Austin Aries, Sting, Kurt Angle. Vince can make a lot of people by putting TNA on the WWE network, the video library. I'm not talking about new TNA because TNA would be shut down. But the old video library of TNA, Vince could get a lot of subscribers. A lot of subscribers. I would say at least an extra 200 to 300,000 people would probably subscribe to the WWE network if they had TNA's entire library on there of pay-per-views. So my opinion, and that's a lot of pay-per-views. TNA started doing Sunday 3-hour pay-per-views. They started that in 2004 at the end of the year. So you're talking about like 11, 12, 13 years of live 3-hour pay-per-views. Every month TNA did a pay-per-view up until I think 2013 or 14. Or 2012, or maybe 2011, they stopped doing Sunday 3-hour pay-per-views. That's a lot of pay-per-views. That's well over 10 years of 3-hour monthly pay-per-views that could be on the WWE network if Vince decides to buy their library. So Vince, it would be a good decision and a great business move by him. The guy is a tremendous, great businessman. So Vince would be smart to buy TNA's library and put it on the network. As I said, I think Vince could get 200,000 to 300,000 more subscribers by having TNA's library on the network, or at least all their pay-per-views on the network. And then later, they could add every Impact Wrestling. So, my final thought and statement is, I hope TNA survives. It's good for the wrestling business. It's good for WWE if TNA is still around. If TNA is not around, it's bad. It's bad for the wrestling business because there's a less company for the wrestlers to work for and women to work for, because WWE will not take every talent that's in TNA. So I feel really sad. As a TNA fan, I'd feel really sad, really bad for the wrestlers that would not get hired by WWE. It would suck. It would suck Not just for the wrestlers, but it'd suck for the wrestling business and the fans of TNA that are left. I still support TNA. I'm a fan of them. I really hope Bound for Glory happens. Got my fingers crossed. And please don't die, TNA. That would not be good for anybody. That would not be good for the wrestling business. To just have Ring of Honor and WWE around. You could also say, well, you watch NXT. That's still part of WWE. So it wouldn't be good to just have Ring of Honor on television and WWE every week on television. That would not be good for the wrestling business. It'd be damn depressing and sad and not good. Bye for now, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this. My thoughts on if the end is near for TNA video. Subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at TNA WWE Guy. Bye for now.